Thank you for joining us. I'm Paul Wilson, and you're listening to Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, I am by myself in the studio today, and hey, that is just fine by me. We are still in full force over here for sale mode at DuramaxTuner.com, calibrated power. God, we have so many products on sale right now. If you need tuning for your Cummins, Duramax, Power Stroke, if you need a turbo for your Duramax, Cummins, Power Stroke, if you want an upgraded transmission for your Duramax, all those products, there's a lot of products that are on sale that may fit your needs. One of the products I wanted to highlight specifically today was the 2020 and 2021 Power Stroke tuning. That's now on our black box tuner. It's really, really cool hardware. It's very, very easy to use. It basically allows you to unlock your ECM in the cab or while you're still in the truck. So previously, we had this system where you could pull the ECM out of the truck, leave your truck down for a couple days, mail us the ECM, we'll mail it back to you with a tune on it, and then you install it and drive it. Let's just be honest, that's not practical for most people. Most people can't just have their truck down for 3 to 4 days while they wait on tuning. Now with the black box tuner, we're able to remotely tune your truck, just a very similar style to what we would do with Cummins or Duramax or anything else. So really, really cool advanced feature there. It's been our most popular product throughout the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. This episode is going live on Friday, December 2nd of 2022. So if you are listening today to this release, jump on DuramaxTuner.com right now. Stop what you're doing. You can even pause the podcast. Give Chris Emke a call. That's 815-568-7920, extension 2121. You'll be able to get a hold of Chris. He'll get you lined up with whatever Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals you need, which will be really cool. One of the other super popular products this year has been our 6-speed LB7 and 6-speed LLY transmission options. We have those in a DT550 and DT750 package. The 6-speed conversion kit's already been installed. It's ready to go. It has everything you need to literally just drop the old transmission out, put the new trans in, swap over your TCM, and start driving today. You can get yourself into a 6-speed with one of those trucks real easily. So very, very cool. Those are $500 off right now. This is the last day of the sale. They're not going to be on sale again for a long time. So if you're looking to grab one, definitely, again, stop what you're doing right now and go get it done. Speaking of sales, Exergy had a big sale over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so I hope you guys were all able to go out and grab yourself a new set of injectors or upgraded CP3 or CP4 pump. What's really cool about working with Exergy is the level of consistency that we get and the predictability that we get. And from a tuning company, which is essentially it's exactly what we started as, and it's certainly the essence of what we are now. As tuners, predictability out of injectors is so insanely important to be able to know what I'm going to recommend to a customer or what I'm going to recommend to an enthusiast, what I'm going to tell people, hey, this injector matched with these other components is going to get you so much power. That's great. Knowing that peak power number makes life really easy, but also being able to get the drivability, being able to have the smoke control, the EGT control, having them respond exactly how we expect them to respond every single time. That's an absolutely crucial component to what we do here, and that's why we love working with Exergy is we know that we're going to get that precision, that quality matched with that consistency. You know, they're somebody we can rely on. Speaking of relying on them, WC Fab is somebody the podcast has relied on for a really long time. We've worked with WC Fab. God, Duramax Tuner Calibrated Power's worked with WC Fab, I think, since both companies' inceptions or damn near. However, as a podcast, WC Fab was, I think, our first sponsor. Jason got on board right away, and Ryan and the brothers and everybody else over there has been so good to work with. We love working with those guys. One, they're a blast. If you've spent any time with Worley's or any of the employees, any of the guys over there, you probably were laughing and smiling and having a good time while you did it. And two, it's because, again, we have this extremely high bar of acceptable standards that we know they rely on and we know that they enforce to a very stringent code. And that's that's why we love to buy their parts. So when we look at intake horns and things of that nature, we know that we're going to deal with Jason and we're going to deal with Worley and WC Fab because it's going to be an awesome part. It's going to be made of the highest possible quality materials. It's going to use all of today's latest and greatest technology to make sure that it's developed and engineered and manufactured to an absolutely level of perfection that we don't have to think about it. We don't have to open up their packages and spot check them. We know we're going to get exactly what we're looking for when we work with them. And then when you add in the powder coating services, WC powder coating, that's really what I think takes their products over the top. You can get any color you can dream of, and mix of colors, and gold flake and sparkle, and the palette never seems to end of new colors that they have availability to. So you really can get a part that you know is going to be of the highest possible precision quality, and then it's going to be customized to whatever color you can dream up or whatever pattern you can dream up. It really is something to see that's just absolutely amazing, the operation that they have going on, and their ability to have scaled that operation and grown to the size that they've grown speaks to the fact that I think just about everybody in the diesel performance industry knows WC Fab is where you go when you want it done right. No question. XDP came on with us a couple of years ago. I personally have worked with XDP for my entire time in diesel performance. They've been an organization and a group of guys that I think I have looked up to because they have this idea and this approach to diesel that if you need it, they have it. And that just becomes so comforting when you're looking for parts or when you're sourcing something, or if you're an enthusiast and you're at home and you're working on your truck in your garage and you don't know who to turn to and who to talk to and where to find it. XDP is one of those companies that you can call and you can be with a certain level of confidence, know that they're going to have that part you need in their catalog, which, man, when you're in the middle of a build, that's something that really does matter. So speaking of builds, I want to give a shout out, a heads up. We're talking about putting together some build for next year. We'd love to hear your feedback. What type of build should we do for the podcast? What should we spend 2023 doing? What should we build? And what should we do with it when we're done? Jump on over to Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast Facebook page. Share some ideas. That page has been really, really active. The group, the Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast Facebook group, has been active. It's really cool to see you guys jumping in there. We appreciate it. There's also the regular Facebook page. You can go and comment there. We have a guy now who's working on it full time, actually going through and making posts and finding articles to share and creating content for the podcast. We really appreciate that. I think he's done a great job. I think the Facebook page and the Facebook group are really starting to take off. So don't miss out. Go over and join today. Man, I have talked for quite a while without saying much about what today's episode is. So let's dive in here. Today's episode, we are going to talk about a brand new product coming out of Duramax Tuner. This is for you 2015 to 2020 Cummins owners. So if you got a 6.7 liter between 15 and 2020, great news. We now are going to have 50 state Cummins tuning. So it's have an EO number. It's been issued by CARB. We've actually had it for a little while. We've been holding the announcement back. This is going to go out live on the Duramax Tuner Facebook page and social media channels and dealer network starting on Monday. But if you're listening to this today on Friday, December 2nd, we're going to give you a little bit of an early scoop here. So 50 state legal tuning. We were approved with hardware, so you have to buy it with hardware. We can't email the tunes to you. It has to come preloaded on the hardware, which is just fine. We have plenty of the hardware in place. This also means that we can provide it with EFI Live. So if you have a preference, or if you just have trusted EFI Live in the past and you want to continue to use that platform, we'll be able to provide those calibrations on EFI Live. If you prefer to use EasyLink, you're handy with your smartphone, you got no problem using an EasyLink, that's a really, really good option too. So you can do it on EasyLink, and then brand new to Calibrated Power, we're going to be offering it on HP tuners. So you'll actually be able to get an MPVI2 or RTD, depending on what's in stock and what we have access to for you, but pretty much the same hardware there. So you'll be getting the hardware to be able to flash it with HP tuners hardware. So if you've, again, maybe had an L5P or tuned somebody else's L5P and you've seen the HP tuner stuff, that's a pretty cool system. Here's the thing. When it comes to 50 state, the calibration is the same regardless of which platform it's on. So there's not really one advantage over the other. It's going to kind of come down to price. If you guys want, you could jump onto DuramaxTuner.com and find all of the 6.7 Cummins tuning. You'll see the 50 state legal stuff listed there. So there's essentially a couple of different options. It's just really what you're most comfortable with. And I think we just wanted to make sure that we had this available on all three platforms at the same time, ready to roll. So come Monday, you guys will be able to order that and buy that and get that stuff going for your truck. Now, some of the questions we get about 50 state I wanted to cover today. Number one question I get is, what's the difference from 49 state to 50 state? Or what's the difference in your normal tuning to your 50 state tuning? Nothing if your truck is stock. So if you only have 50 state equipment on your truck, so maybe you bought an intake, but you bought an intake that has an EO number, little things like that. If there's no performance modifications to your truck, we know how to tune with emissions equipment intact. We've been doing it since 2013. We've been providing emissions equipped only tuning. We know exactly what it takes to get these trucks not only to run it as a night and day difference from stock, with more power, more torque, better throttle response, but we also know how to keep the emissions clean. So that's why we've been doing it for so long, because we don't go out and clog up people's DPFs. We don't cause issues with your DEF consumption. You're not going to see an increased level of regen frequency. You're not going to see an increased DEF usage. All those things are going to stay the same. So you should expect the exact same operation out of your emissions equipment, in some cases that we've gotten even better than stock. Big deal, the big game changer is just if you're going to go and do a built trans down the road, if you're going to go and put a turbo on it, a set of injectors in it, a bigger high pressure fuel pump, things like that are going to dramatically impact the calibration. It's not fathomable for us to be able to go and test every combination of those custom modifications. And as soon as you have any sort of custom modification, it kicks it out of the ability to have an EO, at least for right now, because we can't go and test every single one of those calibrations and prove it to CARB, even though we've proven, hey, we know how to do this, and we've proven everything we've submitted has been approved for a reason, because we understand how it works, and we test the stuff here before we send it there. So we know exactly what needs to be tweaked or what needs to be changed before we go through the very expensive and laborsome process of getting an EO. We have that stuff in the bag. We know what's going on. But for EO to actually have an executive order issued from the California Air Resource Board, or CARB, you have to prove it to them on every situation. So 50 state for us is any of your stock trucks, you could just get it in a 50 state. If you're never going to put any other modifications on there, you're totally fine. It's really not a big deal. It essentially is 50 state. It's just whether or not we've tested it. The 49 state, that's probably more applicable for like the older Duramaxes. Like if you have an LB7 and you got a built trans, it's pretty common. If you got an LBZ and maybe you got a bigger turbo and trans and injectors, that's fine. We could still do that and have that truck run really, really clean. In fact, to a clean level that I would say we have a reasonable basis to believe that we would still meet all 49 state requirements. That I'm very confident in, right? So your 49 state versus 50 state really just depends on what modifications you have. That's the biggest one. Let's see, question number 2. Now I think I've already answered this. Will this hurt my emissions equipment? No, just simple answer. Doing emissions on tuning with calibrated power on your 2015 to 2020 Cummins, you're not going to have any problems. We know that the 19 and 20s use more DEF per mile than what the older trucks do, than what the 15 to 19s or 15 to 18s would, right? You're not going to see a dramatic change. Putting tuning on it isn't going to fix that problem. I've actually heard some theories around why those use so much more DEF, and I think that there's some potential solutions in the pipeline down the road for those. But it's not this product, right? This product will maintain the same level of DEF usage that you had when it was stock. It will maintain the same, if not slightly better, distances between regen. So you really shouldn't have any problems there. Let's see. Last question that I'm going to answer today. Miles per gallon. Will I get better fuel mileage? Yeah, this is a really, really popular question. I feel like I've been answering this since I ever got started in diesel, and I have. Everybody wants to know how is this going to impact it? Well, if you can run a higher horsepower tune and make more power at lower RPM, that would mean that there are driving scenarios where you should be able to get into a higher gear and use less RPM to move the same load. And if you could use less RPM to move the same load, you will consume less fuel. That's just science. Now, there's a human element to this, that if you put it in a big tune and you pull up next to Honda Civics and you rev up the engine and then you slam on the throttle and everywhere you go, you smash the skinny pedal and you stand on the brakes, you're going to use more fuel. I don't think that's unreasonable. If you drive like an asshole and you have more horsepower available, your fuel mileage is going to be worse. If you drive like a reasonable adult and you have more horsepower, your fuel mileage should get better. How much better? Depends. Again, we see a lot of variation in this. It's hard to have like real good, solid scientific data. User feedback would be anywhere from 2 to 3 miles per gallon improvement if you can drive like a reasonable driver and run a higher horsepower tune. I think that pretty much nails it. Those are the questions that we get most often. Again, you could check this product out on DuramaxTuner.com. It'll be available. Well, it's available right now if you're hearing this. It's already up and alive. But all of the public announcements are going to go out starting on Monday. So following up. Guys, again, we'd love to hear from you. Get a hold of us over at Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast Facebook group. The podcast is ending now, so it's a great time to pull the car over, pull the truck over, stop everything you're doing, tell your boss to shut up in this meeting, and jump on over to your Facebook and join Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast Facebook group. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Paul Wilson. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us today, guys. This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon. Guys, I am by myself in the studio today, and hey, that is just fine by me.